copies on the table for anybody that wants it. Can we get another couple of... Are these pads full?
Before we proceed with this evening's meeting, I would like to call upon Father Stephen to lead us in opening prayer. Please stand.
Lord Jesus Christ.
I would like to welcome and thank each and every one of you for attending the meeting this evening. And I hope that each of you have had an opportunity to try our refreshments. Our hostesses for this evening are Grace Pasiadis, B. Maris, Stella Calamaris. Did I miss anyone? And Catherine Weinberg. This evening will be strictly a business meeting with a year in review for the committee chairman, and we will have election of members of the Board of Trustees. But before I turn the microphone over to our Vice President, Andrew Chikalis, who, according to our Constitution bylaws, presides over the Advisory Council meeting, I want to thank you for your kind support during my 2 years as President of Hellenic Preservation Society. I feel very fortunate to have worked with such a talented group of individuals within the Board of Trustees, as well as all the many members who have shown an intense interest in this organization. We are just beginning to lay the foundation for this organization, and much work still needs to be done. In the fall, at our next meeting in September, I hope I will see all of you at that next meeting, but I also would like to see you bring a friend. We want this organization to grow, and we want this membership to double. Again, many thanks. Now I'd like to call upon Andy to come to the microphone.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Helen. I assume that everyone has been presented with this packet of information. It'll be helpful for you to follow through that stack of reports as the meeting progresses. This information, you can certainly duplicate it and provide it to other members of the community to give insight on what HPS is working on and the type of operation that we are setting for the future. I would like to call first the reading of the minutes by B. Maris, Secretary. B, if you would want to step forward.
These are the minutes of March 18th. The Advisory Council of the Hellenic Preservation Society of Northeastern Ohio held a meeting on Thursday, March 18th, 1993 at 7:35 p.m. at St. Demetrius Church. Helen Cullis, President, introduced Father Medallinos, who led the members in prayer. Andrew Chikalis, Vice President, conducted the meeting. Chikalis welcomed the speaker, Richard Carver, and thanked Joanne Gumas and her committee for the hospitality, the Communications Committee for their newsletter, and Pam Theophylaxis for documentation of the evening's program. The minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. In the absence of Mary Beth Leckis, treasurer, Chikalis reported a balance of $18,421.37 in our account. Chikalis reported that he and Helen Cullis had met with all the committee chairpersons and receive their long-range planning committee reports, which will be available at our next meeting in May at St. Constantine and Helen Cathedral. He said we will be looking for individuals who want to work on the archives and collections committees. Also at that meeting, we will present a plaque being designed by Rose Rodas. This plaque is for presentation to those who serve this organization in special ways. Long Range Planning Committee. Chris Lucas, chairperson, invited members to join the committee and contact him for further information. He spoke of their current project to develop a strategic plan to guide the HPS. Nominating Committee. Kay Theophylactis and Donna Vasos volunteered to serve on the nominating committee to make recommendations for 2 candidates from the Advisory Council to serve on the Board of Trustees. Greek Independence Day. The mayor of the city of Brook Park will honor Greek Independence Day in their city in a ceremony on March 30th during their council meeting. Our modular display of the icon restoration project was requested by the mayor for installation in their recreation center and will remain there for 1 or 2 weeks. A special panel was drafted by Mark Ficaris for this display. Cultural Gardens of Cleveland. Ann Moore introduced the speaker, Richard Carver, professor of art history and photography at Cuyahoga Community College, who presented an entertaining lecture and slide program on the Cultural Gardens of Cleveland. Pete Katavalis spoke briefly on the history of the Cultural Gardens and the efforts of Mayor White and others to maintain them. He reported an endowment fund was established many years ago to support the gardens. More recently, another organization has invested $300,000. Chikalas related his discussions earlier this year with Katavalis, who has been handling much of the responsibility for the gardens. Katavalis felt it would be a great opportunity for our organization to take the leadership role and become the caretakers of the gardens. The Board of Trustees will take this issue into consideration. The meeting was adjourned at 9:15 p.m.
Thank you, Bee, for reading the minutes. I'm going to take additions, corrections to the minutes read.
I recommend the minutes be approved as read.
All right, do we hear a second? Joanne Gumas, second. The minutes have been read and approved. I'd like to move now down to the financial report. Mary Beth Lakis is to do so. Helen, you'll do the, thank you.
This is from Mary Beth Lekis, our treasurer. She states, please excuse my last-minute absence from the HPS meeting. I have a last-minute board meeting to attend for one of my clients. The balance in the account is presently $15,968.52. The books will be given to Emily Nicholas for audit for the period of time from 9/1990 to 5/31/92. I have also asked her to complete a Form 990 as soon as possible. Now, Emily, you may have some question about that too. Did you receive that 990 form?
I've got it today.
Did you? Very good.
Thank you, Helen. Emily? Yes, Chris?
I don't mean to correct the late American financial period ending. Why would the late turning?
If I remember that.
193, thank you. It's written as coming to here.
Yeah, it should be
Thank you. Brief background on that. Rose Rodas and I, we discussed many things over the telephone on HPS. And about a year ago, we talked about, well, eventually we would like to consider some element, plaque, paper, glass, bronze, that could be representing our organization to give to those either speakers, those who have contributed time, energies, efforts. And Rose and I have shared ideas over the telephone. And Rose, I will turn the presentation over to you, and you could explain, Rose, the process, the some of the parameters that we kicked around as far as scale, calligraphy, printing, paper, metal, so forth. Rose? Absolutely.
Tasty.
I think this is glued on here
Yes.
with
the,
mirror.
Yes, mirror
The
glass.
HPS.
We wanted to reference the logo that Rose drafted, and that individual translated that as a mirror image, which is basically adheres then to the plate glass. So you're actually getting a relief form.
Did you get a price from her, Andrew?
No, I would say we'd probably be in shock
I'm sure.
with the glass, but she is very, very anxious in taking the concept that Rose did and utilizing another material that she's comfortable with working. And I believe the lettering is not silk screened, it's a transfer process that glass artists use. I don't know the technical terms, I apologize. But another version, and it's meant to be on a table, not to be hung on the wall.
It is rather heavy.
And there are different types of wood, and there's different types of ink applications on the glass. So it's a departure from the norm, and I thought it would be interesting for us to take a look at, and we want your comments.
We also talked about metal plating.
Absolutely.
And it could be presented on paper and framed, padded and framed. So that's something that we'd like to hear.
You did all the calligraphy, is that correct, Diane? And we would most likely get that camera ready off of Rose's original artwork, and then we would print up the paper form so we would have, to do the glass, it's a little bit more cumbersome as far as process.
And
We
we-
talked about metal,
Metal.
bronze, I mean, ideals are right here as far as the thousands. No, no. The board, I think it's up for discussion. We have not established rules to say who should, under what conditions, what constitutes let's say, nominating someone for an award. That has to be, I think, but we're taking it from the artistic standpoint and let those folks deal with the real issues with the award. So we want to have the award ready when they get their minds made up on the reasoning for giving someone an award. Yes.
All right. When someone receives an award, I think the glass is beautiful, but I consider it a cumbersome thing.
Okay, that's fine.
It's also very expensive.
It's nice, but it could break, right? So, you know, you have to be careful, handling it if someone is lucky enough to get one. But a freestanding plaque does have a certain advantage, because not everyone has a wall they want to hang something on.
And the trophy room, right?
Well, yeah, or the game room, or whatever your house is designed like. If you came up with something maybe out of plastic, I don't know if it would work, as opposed to glass. It could be etched in the same way or something.
It could be silk
So
screened
it's
down
not,
plexiglass.
so it's not breakable. Maybe that would be a compromise. It doesn't have to be at large either, does it?
No.
No.
We're,
If it could be done in real fine print.
Rose and I wanted to open up the discussion from the members this evening, and this was, yes.
What about having something like an icon effect, since this is an icon preservation society?
Well, we're not solely an icon
Yeah.
preservation society. We thought of it was our thought that perhaps using the logo as the identifying factor with HPS.
Yeah.
That's the premise in which that's the image that we're trying to
Yeah.
have people recognize and live with.
I agree.
Yeah, any other comments, please? Who's in favor of the Rose, hold yours up, we'll take a vote.
On the last one, on that one, red is my favorite color, and but I think for this particular.
Oh, no, that has nothing to do with
That's just mounted on.
Okay. Never mind.
Margaret, we did the presentation.
It wouldn't be that size. That's just a large district.
To be considered. So that the process, we could do lithography, we could do silk screen, they could even do vinyl letter cutout and so forth, all sorts of process that, yes.
Andy, I think we might even consider having 2 or 3 different types based on what you...
See, because this was just preliminary through Rose and I, as far as the, I mean, that was our verbiage there. Perhaps it has to be higher English or otherwise. Other comments?
How about this?
Let's take a vote on, who's in favor of the Rose's concept as far as the calligraphy, the black and white image? Yeah. But are you giving us a carte blanche to proceed with the design?
Rose.
We will present costs naturally to the board, and I'm sure cost is going to be a deciding factor. So well, if we would want to do 2,000 of either, I'm sure the price is going to be a lot less. I would think printing. I think that the conditions and who and why, those should be established from the board. Rose and I much rather remove ourselves from that. If you want to have 3 for 3 different categories, or 3 is fine. We'll just either change the language or perhaps change the color. That's an option. But at least what you're saying here is the beginning as far as idea. Yes, Thomas.
Are we going to set up an honors committee to establish criteria for who we're going to make awards?
Has to be dealt with, absolutely. It should be dealt with, yes. Actually, this presentation brings the issues up, which is them as I do think we should give that some serious thought.
And I don't know how important it is really to vote tonight, other than just get a general consensus for what looks good, because I really think this is a committee's job. Right. I don't know anything about that.
Well, we're not hearing a lot of thumbs down. I don't think we're on the right track. Rose will continue.
I think the consensus there, they're a little fearful of the safety of the glass. I mean, many of us have children and grandchildren. Don't knock things over. But everybody.
Suppose there should be some thought process to what constitutes someone to nominate someone to get an award. I mean, is it attendance? Is it, I mean, whatever that may be, that award should serve that condition. A gesture of appreciation. And I think the thought process should be artistically considered equally as the reasoning for. Okay? So if you have ideas, I would say Rose let her know, so at least she can report that information to the board, and I'll be glad to field those calls. But some reasoning or why should be there. Whether it's just volunteer hours, whether it be, a multitude of reasons. But that plaque, whatever it is, once it's finished, should fit with that. Representatives substituting for the chairperson. And as I mentioned at the beginning, that you are going to be walking away with a lot of reading literature this evening. But I want to stress, this is, I view this as critical thinking. A lot of time, a lot of effort by a lot of people make these reports what they are. In a very, very condensed format, which without the assistance of Dean Marrows, it would be perhaps in cryptic notes to you, but it's been all organized in a format so everyone in the advisory council could get a sense on, wow, what's really happening with HPS from the various committees. Also, through this review process, we realized that we are still not focusing in on a couple of the areas that we originally intended to do, and that was our archive and also our collection and a development. And there was a lot of time and thought put into these reports. We are going to have the chairperson in brief just summarize their report that you can take home and read after. But please pass this into members of the community and have them get an idea of what HPS is thinking. It's the organization. That I think is very for her is Chris Dennis. Chris, if you'd stand and please, if you'd want to come up to the podium, fine.
No,
Or
I think I can give of our committee. The mission of the Benefits Committee is to serve as a catalyst for project support through fundraising, programs, and promotions with Hellenic preservation committees and other Hellenic organizations, cultural institutions, and events. This is our mission. The goals are to hold one fundraiser and other secondary functions in cooperation with other committees. Now, we do have several long-range goals that I'm not going to read to you because you have these in front of you. I do have to tell you, however, that this year we are planning a Heritage Ball, which is scheduled for the 16th of October, and we will need money for it. So our budget estimate is approximately $15,000. This will be for, will include food, music, invitations, postage, centerpieces, and a lot of other miscellaneous expenses. We'll need about $40 for meeting announcements, $200 for flyers, postage for dance and other special benefit events, and $20 for the long-distance telephone calls that we had made in order to get entertainment for that evening, giving us a total of $50,260. I don't know, are you supposed to vote on this tonight for us? Okay, I didn't know, but I wanted you to be aware. The membership committee needs people. We would like to have a few more men to join our organization or our committee. The skills and talents that you will need to be a member of the benefits committee is you have to have the ability to select and evaluate fundraising events, and the ability to sell tickets, willingness to work in a cooperative manner with other HPS committees and Hellenic organizations, and jointly sponsor events. I think under the circumstances, I'm going to stop at this point because everything else is written down, and I don't think there's anything.
Is the publication of the newsletter. We do flyers and other things as well, but that's the major thrust. At the last meeting, which was at the end of April, that we joined together and determined most of the things that you find in this report. We determined our resources, we set up a regular schedule, and as you know, we were aiming for 4 issues to come out for the rest of the year: June 29th, August 24th, November 15th, and then next year on January 20th. We are open and we welcome any suggestions, and we also welcome anyone that thinks they can contribute anything to help us in preparing our newsletter, as well as other things that we do. We want to assure you that we're trying to avoid getting into political matters, and we are doing our best to follow the mission of HPS and to fulfill it to the best of our ability. We finally have a budget, and we know what we can spend, and hopefully we won't have to spend all of it. We'll try to keep under it, but we're open. We've made a decision as to who will do the printing for us, at least temporarily. Perwell Printers have given us a very good price, and apparently they're willing to do the kinds of things we're asking them to do. So with that, I think I'll end my report. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you. In the meantime, I think we owe a round of applause to Helen Collis, who is finishing her terms as president of the HPS, and I think she deserves more than a
Conservation Society. On the first page, we have a list of all the committee members and their specialties. My apologies to Mark. I don't know how your name was omitted, Mark, but please add Mark Vicaris' name alphabetically. And Mark said he would be responsible for recording the minutes of all our programs. Anyone who is interested in education or programming is certainly welcome to join us. Our long-range goals for this year is we're hoping that sometime this year we can plan a trip to the Hellenic Museum and Cultural Center in Chicago to see how they have organized their programs there. Then we had tentatively thought we would like to take a trip to the Cultural Gardens with Richard Carberg. And then we're having our first meeting of the year in September. We're hoping to have the icon restoration program. And sometime we may have this specialist in history, Spiro Veronis, for an all-day workshop. And that probably will be costly. And so on. If anyone has anything they would like to add, I certainly will welcome your input. Thank you.
Projects Committee of HPS, and I'm sure there are going to be other special projects in the future with this organization, but at present our special project is the icon restoration. The skills and talents of individuals, we have recruited every board member, both new and old. We are going to also have other individuals come aboard as the project develops. We are going to, let alone depend on 2 conservators to do the restoration of the icons, but we are going to document the process for the publication, which will consist of skills that will be needed, such as writers, doing historical research. We'll want an architect to do some drawings, perhaps of the church architecture. The altar to give elevation concepts in the publication, so there's a cohesion of where do they go, how do they fit, perhaps that type of rendering, and we have an architect in the community that is interested in doing that for us. We'll need the full cooperation of the Communications Committee to help do the elements of the publication. Such as the Kathy Apatsos. We have Mark Vicaris that'll, I'm sure, be willing. Dr. Rodas as far as the historical information on the Annunciation. So you can see that there's a tremendous blend of talent that's going to come together to make this the icon project a success. Resources for 93, meeting times, office space, pretty straightforward. We will not create a laboratory to do this. We'll allow the conservators to work at their own facility. And to realize the icon project, I know that we're going to have to touch the benefits committee for special fundraising needs. A membership committee, I'm sure, will be active with us also in the solicitation thereof of funding. We have established meeting days, times. How we'll notify members is resolved. How we'll get information to the members, that's also been covered. We have Dee Marrows has volunteered for recording of the meetings. We have established budget line ideas, line items for all the icons, photography, etc. So the mission statement is very clear. We are a committee that will extinguish itself after we have successfully restored all the icons, that we've paid attention that they will have a safe housing once completed. We'd like to have them on display, perhaps in the gallery or at all the churches or otherwise, to bring attention to our community for the rest of Cleveland to know that we have successfully accomplished that endeavor, which is no small undertaking. Any questions at all on the icon restoration? Yes?
Well, thank you, Bee, but I'm not a member.
I took back the minutes.
Need a budget. Unlike all the other committees that are looking for money.
Bravo.
So that should put your mind at ease for a moment at least. Now, I'm only going to take a moment, because just like the others, we have a written report here which you can... Well, we had to put some money down. There was a complaint already registered that we asked for $200. That's because there will be some postage to get people to come to the meetings. But as I indicated, everything's written out here as far as the formality of the analysis of the committee purpose and how it plans to proceed. It should be emphasized, though, the mission of this committee, as stated, is to develop a strategic plan for the HPS to secure its future and define the resources necessary to implement the mission of the organization. That is rather important. We're really talking about making sure that this organization doesn't fall by the wayside, as so many other well-intentioned groups have been known to do historically, that it will continue at least long enough for us to get out of it before it fails. And by that, I mean by being buried with HPS on it. Maybe one of these last things next to us. But seriously, in order to do this job properly, the board saw fit as a unit to declare all Board of Trustee members as members of this committee. So not only must the board go to its regular scheduled meetings, but it also must attend all of the long-range planning committee meetings, which are more numerous than the board meetings. But in any event, it's just that important. On the first page, there's other individuals who have kindly seen fit to join the committee. Hopefully, we'll get a little more organized in this coming year now that we finally got the system down pretty good, and we'll have some regularly scheduled meetings and hope to see all of these people at every one of them. It's a process, though. You can't just show up at one meeting and have much of an impact, because frankly, we've been educating the committee as a whole for a year and a half now, just in the thinking method to be able to do its job properly. But what's going to come out of this, bottom line, is there'll be a written report, and it'll be rather extensive, and it will be analyzing first all the needs of the organization, hopefully some good suggestions on how to go about implementing and meeting those needs, and what future goals should be targets for the organization to attempt to achieve in the future. So it's going to be really the blueprint for the organization and its future. And hopefully members that join this group 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whenever in the future, will have some place they can go and see just what the organization started for, how it grew, where it's at that point in history, and hopefully have some vision to continue on and do even more in the future. That's quite a bit. It's not a simple task. The people have been very dedicated to it thus far. I'm sure they will be in the future. There will be a very short report given in the next newsletter that comes out from the committee. You should all look for that expectantly and read it. You'll be tested on it at the next meeting we have. But the main thing that it's going to point out is that we do need dedicated members on this committee. So if anyone here tonight has the interest and has the time, intentions are great, but not on this committee. You've actually got to perform, because unfortunately we need the process to keep working with everybody present. We're more than happy to have you. And thus far I've been meeting over on Rockside, as everyone else has been, through the good graces and offices of our chairman. And hopefully that'll continue for next year, because it's kind of centrally located. If anyone has any questions, I'll see you after the meeting. I'd be happy.
Took a vote, decided to take the money and go to Disneyland. That was our I'll try not to repeat what you have in front of you, but I'd like to update you on these figures. We have 338 members, 124 couples, 82 singles, and 8 organizations. We're not all here tonight, are we? Well, we will be completing a 2-year charter membership term this October. And we've decided that the membership period henceforth will be annual, due on the anniversary of your joining. Some of us have enjoyed almost 2 years of our initial subscription. This is a little perk for our growing pains. We have established the categories for dues structure. $35 a couple. We've raised things a tiny bit. $25 for singles and $15 for students. $35 to $1,000 for organizations. You'll be receiving a letter with a renewal form to be returned. That'll be in the mail soon. We'll also be publishing a new brochure with these new membership categories and other pertinent material about HPS. At some time in the future, we'd like to have a directory for all the members. I'm sure you'd be interested in knowing whether you're in good company or not. We have declared the month of October as our membership drive month. Each Sunday in October, we will sponsor the coffee hour following the church service. All four churches have been contacted and scheduled. October the 3rd, the Annunciation. October the 10th, St. Demetrius.
Wait a minute. That was October the 10th was for St. Paul. I've already scheduled it.
Well, we'll have to change it then. St. Paul for the 10th? I scheduled it.
I talked to the council.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. That's right.
October 24th, St. Paul, and October 31, St. Constantine. We skipped the 17th because of our dinner dance on the 16th. There are 5 Sundays in October, lucky for us. Instead of sweets, we thought we'd go for pizzas and fruit and cheese and things like that. The Philoptohos societies of all the churches are group members of HPS. The members of HPS who are also Philoptohos members will be serving. There won't be any conflict there. We're all really one big happy family. After reviewing a list of societies in Cleveland, a member of our committee, was assigned to personally contact the best person in the organization. And a letter will be sent and possibly a personal visit to a meeting. Oh, okay. All right, how far back do I go? How far back do I go? One paragraph. Okay.
Go back to October. Did you have 4 events in October?
Did you have the coffee hours all in the month of October?
All in October. That's our membership drive month. Each Sunday we'll do the coffee hour at a different church. You think that's a bit much?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Because you see, it's not the same people won't be doing this. The same people will not be doing this. The members of HPS, who are also members of the Philoptohos, for that particular church, will be handling the coffee hour. Same sort of thing we did this evening.
Have you talked to the Philoptohos at each church?
Yes, I've scheduled with each church. And in fact, a letter will be going out tomorrow to confirm. I don't know whether they'll change their minds, but anyway. That's right. I told them we were flexible. And if they haven't, then we have to naturally go on to maybe early November. It's all very flexible. But we started off with something at least.
You've talked to the locals chapters at each church to confirm this?
I talked to the person at each church in charge of scheduling coffee hours. And then also, they asked me to send a letter. And the letters are typed, they're going out tomorrow.
Charlie, did you talk to Conda?
Yes.
That's who I talked to.
I talked to Conda, and that's the date I got. You got a different date.
Okay, she told me the 10th.
Well, that's all right. I thought it was understood that I was going to do this. After reviewing all of the list of societies, it's not a complete list, but it's pretty good to start with. A member of our committee was assigned to personally contact the best person in the organization. And a letter, which is almost ready, will be sent. And then after that, our members will contact, following the letter, and then possibly a personal visit to a meeting, because these people are all needed. And if any of you are members of these societies, talk about us when you go to your meetings. We would like to have a courtesy booth or a table or a corner of someone else's table at the festivals this year. We could have either a poster or an easel or something, nothing big like, the modulars, the icons we had last time, but at least our presence there. Flyers and application blanks will be available. And it isn't necessary to man this little table or whatever we have, but the things will be there. And it'd be nice, whoever's at the festival, if they could just go over and help out. I'll try to assign people, but it was kind of hard on us last year with being there all the time at all the church festivals. In addition to our HPS membership list, we have our function, of course, is keeping up that for-church mailing list. It has to be kept current. So an HPS member for each church is proofreading and updating that list. When we have a mailing of our newsletter, our flyer, or for a flyer for a special event, we mail out 2,140 copies to members of all 4 churches, which includes the HPS membership. To this, we've added the names of our out-of-town members and non-Greek members. The cost for community mailing is $178, nonprofit bulk mailing. Our HPS membership mailing of 214 pieces is only $20. And we also plan to submit a questionnaire to all members sometime in the future to get a feedback as to what they like or don't like. We'd like suggestions on how we might improve. Now you notice on the organizational strategy, we need members, of course all the committees need extra members, skills or talents needed in the committee to accomplish committee goals. We need people who are outgoing, warm, friendly, communicative, take the initiative and be resourceful, be inventive, and seek ways and means to bring people together through projects they're interested in joining. Well, we might settle for a little less, but if you're interested, you're welcome. And that's it.
Every way, but very important for the organization to have not only one, but both. Archives will collect the records, and Chris Lucas at present has opened up a file in his office for those members, board members, advisory council members that have documentation that should be preserved, at least centralized in that file in his office. So we have started the motion, but we are looking this evening for any of the members present and those who are not present, if you would be inclined to volunteer them in this direction. Archives Committee and Collections Committee. They will take the same organizational skills and evolve a mission statement, define their needs, their meeting schedules, etc. So there will be a concrete reality with both of those committees. It would be a disservice to this organization 10 years from now if we don't establish an archives committee this year. Likewise, for the collections area, we would be taking the risk of losing valuable documentation, historical data, etc. And I know that there is a lot of material that is sitting in the community, scattered, and HPS is willing to take the responsibility on of collating, gathering, and putting all the necessary elements to make that a viable archive for our community. No small feat, but I think we have the right individuals that are willing to step forward and take that. This evening, is there anyone interested, even if you don't know what an archive, I would like to say that we'll probably establish a meeting for the archive committee and the collections committee in September, either immediately before the 16th of September meeting or there shortly afterwards. Perhaps it would be wise if we have an orientation session open to all members, board members and so forth, to present what this is going to entail as far as, I do have a great deal of experience as far as collections. I do have some experience, and there are others and more as far as archives. We have talent in our community. If you know individuals in our community that have professional experience, volunteer experience in these areas, I think you should jot their name down and let any of the trustees know of their whereabouts. And I think it would be smart for us to approach these individuals to have them help with our goals of establishing the archive and the collections committee. We have already documents and objects that are not assigned, properly logged, and the longer we wait for this to happen, it is easy for those documents and objects to be perhaps forgotten, lost, otherwise. So I think it's a high time that we move forward. Is there anyone here that would be interested in signing up for the Archives Committee or the Collections Committee? Rose Rodas, bravo. Collections, Ellen. Collections? Okay, yes. Collections or Archives? Collections. We have 3 for collections. Going once? Grace. Helen and Rose. Now we need some takers on the Archive Committee. Oh, come on, it's not dead weight.
I will help.
And more will help. That's good. That's what we want. Stella? No? Thomas? Good. Thank you. You could put my name down on both of those if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. That should be an interesting venture for whomever is interested. Get on the ground floor. There is much to be done in that area. Okay, and there's one other line item under committee reports, and that is Development Committee. Loosely defined at present. There's a specialized area in many institutions today, and that is a development office. It deals, each of the various development offices are established due to the nature of the organization. And HPS, in its future plans, will require a development committee, someone in charge, to eventually spin off of the long-range planning committee, which basically would establish parameters for the development office to work for future tasks. And it could be in the realm of development of funding sources. It could be scholarships. It could be a whole array of, is there anyone here that would know, anyone in our community that has had development experience? Anyone at all? at the universities. Thomas? Ted Theodore at Baldwin Wallace, correct. I think perhaps we should maybe put a note in the minutes that Ted Theodore could be contacted for advisory.
Also,
Lou Theodosius? Theodosian, I'm sorry. BW also?
he used to be.
Okay. So we have two targeted individuals. I think that's good. I'm sure that once we meet with those two individuals, we can establish further information to come forward. Are there any questions at all on any of the committee reports? I think that you can see the amount of work and effort that has been put forth by the committee chair individuals, also the committee members. It is quite refreshing, both from my standpoint and also Helen's, to see the way individuals in this organization dig in and produce. I'd like to give a round of applause to all those committees. Just summarize the meetings that took place with the nominating committee, and we will listen for the nominees for trustees from the advisory council. Rose?
We all met, and we came up with 3 names that we all agreed on, and they were Pauline Ratkovich, Charlotte Boudreau, and Marguerite Stephanopoulos. Pauline has withdrawn her name since then. So now we have just the 2, and they are, again, I repeat, Charlotte Boudreau and Marguerite Stephanopoulos.
Okay, I'd like to put it, yes, Chris?
There should be nominations from the floor.
Nominations, okay.
Before you vote,
Yes.
maybe we should take a minute and explain to the body as a whole what these positions are.
Chris, if you would please clarify the position and the requirements.
Funny you should ask. Just to refresh your memories, collectively, the Board of Trustees consists of a minimum of 8 members, I believe. That's irrelevant because 2 of the members on the Board of Trustees are to be elected from this group as a group, namely the Advisory Council. Now, all the trustees have to be members of the organization or members of the Advisory Council. But the Advisory Council is a unit, elects 2 of the trustees. The 2 that they elect pursuant to our bylaws serve for only a 1-year term. So last year, I believe Pauline Latkovic and George Abdelis were elected by the Advisory Council to be trustees. Their terms both are now expiring. It was only a 1-year term. The remaining trustees, I should just mention, are elected by the trustees themselves, nominated and elected from that organization. So, which is very common in nonprofit fundraising organizations of our type. But in any event, so the 2 that will be elected tonight will serve for a 1-year term as Board of Trustee members.
Thank you, Chris. 1-year terms each, and those individuals are, Rose, would you please announce the 2 candidates? One is in favor of both named for trustees for HPS. Shall we take a...
Need a motion on
Need a I'm sorry.
I move we cast a unanimous ballot for Marguerite Stephanopoulos and Charlotte.
I second.
Second?
Yeah.
Done. I'd like to thank the nominating committee for the work that was done. All in favor, I'm sorry. Aye?
Aye.
No? Nays? No nays. It's carried. The leadership roles are there, but there's sometimes very few leaders to fill the slot. I would like to say that I've had a wonderful experience, and all trustees and all members of this organization have been very fortunate to have Helen Collis as the first president of HPS. I gather in the way I feel about Helen, she's our special icon, and she deserves just that type of respect. She has really brought together individuals for various reasons, assignments, tasks, etc., in a very, very wonderful way that you enjoy working with not only Helen, but all other members of the board, the advisory council. And I think she's really set a wonderful first step for this organization. Helen, on my part, and I'm sure all the board members, it's been a joy working with you, and we are looking for your counsel in the future. Thank you, Helen. Yes. I'd like to thank you for keeping that all in track for us. The badges, if you would be so kind to save us printing costs once again, to return the badges to Joanne or to Charlotte on the tables where we're seated. Is there any other, yes, Helen?
The inaugural ball was over there, and we'll be taking some, will you take some honors pens?
Yeah, I can take.
This evening for these, it's a lovely, the Zorka's concert is quite lovely.
Thanks.
There's more coffee, dessert.
There's more refreshments. I'd like to mention that I had acquired several of the tapes that Pam had completed for us and so forth. And that is material that is destined for our archive. That is why we need that committee to begin its work. So that material is not going to be lost. Yes, Tom.
Chairman of committees, if you have the reports with you, or the newsletter, or any of you have written anything for the newsletter, please turn it in to me tonight. If possible, if you can't, by Friday. I'd like to have it because we have deadlines we have to meet. Okay?
Dennis, I have some photographs for you, and also then the copy for the long-range plan. Okay.
Good.
Yes, Helen.
If anyone has not signed up for a committee, we have a sheet of paper over there. Please sign up for a committee if you haven't already. Various committees are listed on the pages.
I would like to charge everyone here with the responsibility of adding a new member to HPS within the next year. I think we all can create a community and increase our program activity, our education commitment, our long-range planning concepts. I want to take special thanks to all those who prepared the reports this evening. Bean Maros, a round of applause for Bean. You can sleep late tomorrow, Bean. Also, just to mention some of the newcomers that are into the organization that are already contributing. Mark Vacaris, who was instrumental in helping with the Brook Park presentation of the Icon Restoration Project. And there are many others, and I don't want to be offending anyone by not naming, but we want your participation. We want your active energy, having us move forward with HPS. Long-range planning may be very foreign to a lot of people, but it is really, we want to plan for success and plan for the future with success. Thus, the labors that the trustees and other members on the long-range planning are doing to see that become a reality.